Hello everyone and welcome to day 14. Today we are talking about proportional relationships. So if you look at page 1 of the assignment, basically shows you some graphs and you have to drag drop by looking at the graphs to determine whether they are proportional or not proportional. So let's look at the text here. It says for a graph to represent a proportional relationship, the points of the graph must form a straight line and pass through the origin of the graph. So the origin is the coordinates 0, 0. And most of my kids remember that from class. All right, so if you look at page number 2, it shows you models of a proportional relationship in the forms of tables. So you need to look at these tables and determine, are they proportional or not proportional, and go ahead and drag drop what you think each table represents in each of these boxes here. So, and then on page number 4, get a similar problem where again they have the same exact tables, but in this case you have to find out what the constant of proportionality is. So actually when you're doing page 4, you could do page 2, you could do page 4 at the same time. So let's look at what those problems would look like, okay? All right, so if you have a table of values, you have your x values and your y values. And you can go ahead and see if there is a constant of proportionality by dividing y divided by x in each case. So the first one would be 4 divided by 2, and that's 2, okay? Let's try -4 divided by -2, and again we get 2. And then we have -8 divided by -4, and again we get 2. So in every case, we found out that when we divided y divided by x, we got 2. So it is proportional, and so then the constant of proportionality is 2. And we also know that it's proportional because it goes through the origin, as demonstrated by the point 0, 0. But if it doesn't have 0, 0 in the table, go ahead and do y divided by x by all of your other coordinate pairs and see if there is a constant of proportionality. Now obviously if you divided and you got different numbers, then it would not be proportional. Okay, so go ahead and work on pages 2 and 4. All right, so for page number 3, it just gives you a graph, and it's telling you that the graphs of these lines are all proportional, and to find what the constant of proportionality is. So I'm going to give you a sample problem, and we'll look at that together. All right, so if you have a graph that looks like this, we can see that there is a point right there, and that point is 2, 4. So we know that the 2 is our x coordinate and the 4 is our y coordinate. Okay, so we can go ahead and do the same thing that we did with the tables. We could say y divided by x. Well, in this case, our y coordinate is 4 and our x coordinate is 2. Okay, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So our constant of proportionality is 2. And since it goes through the origin, it is going to be a y equals mx graph. And in this case, since our m, which is our constant of proportionality or slope, it would be y equals 2x. Okay? So that's what that would look like. All right, if you go ahead and look at page number 5, it gives you some equations, and then it gives you some word problems, and in both cases you need to either identify the constant of proportionality or write an equation to represent the particular situation. So let's look at what some of those problems might look like. Okay, so in this problem here, we have the equation y equals -4x plus 2. We know that our constant of proportionality is our m. So you may have a y equals mx, and that would be a proportional equation, or you may have a y equals mx plus b. Okay, so in either case, our m is our constant of proportionality or slope, and in this case, our m is -4, so it would be -4. And in this case here, it's not written in either of these forms, so let's just go ahead and see if we can get it in the form of y equals mx. So in this case here, we see that y is alone. We want y to be alone. And when we have a coefficient in front of our y, we divide on both sides, okay? So in this case, 9, we cross it out, bring down our y, and we have 36 divided by 9 is 4, and then we bring down our x. So in this case, our constant of proportionality is 4, okay? You may get some word problems, so you can look at those word problems here, and you'd have to write an equation to represent the situation. So here it says there are 8 times as many basketball players as soccer players. So that's simply our constant of proportionality is 8, so it would be y equals 8x. And in this case here, the constant of proportionality between the number of animals, A, at the zoo, and the number of employees, E, that work there is 7/2. So in this case, we would say A equals 7/2 E. And the only reason why we're not using y and x is in this case they're giving us variables to represent each thing here in this case, okay? So go ahead and do the problems for day 14, and I will see you tomorrow in day 15. Bye-bye.